in Exodus chapter 3, beginning with verse 1. Moses, now think about this, he had been afforded all the luxuries of Pharaoh's house, but now he's tending sheep. Moses was shepherding the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the west end of the wilderness and came to the mountain of God, Horeb. The angel of God appeared to him in flames of fire, blazing out of the middle of a bush. Moses looked. The bush was blazing away, but it didn't burn up. Moses said, "What's going on here? I can't believe this. Amazing. Why doesn't this bush burn up?" God saw that he had stopped to look. Folks, when God gets your attention, pay attention. God saw that Moses had stopped to look. God called to him from out of the bush, "Moses, Moses." He said, "Yes, I'm right here." And God said, "Don't come any closer. Remove your sandals from your feet. You're standing on holy ground." And then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." Moses hid his face, afraid to look at God. God said, "I've taken a good long look at the affliction of my people in Egypt. I've heard their cries for deliverance from their slave masters. I know all about their pain, and now I have come down to help them. Pry them loose from the grip of Egypt. Get them out of that country and bring them to a good land with wide open spaces, a land lush with milk and honey." The Israelite cry for help has come to me, God said, and I've seen for myself how cruelly they're being treated by the Egyptians. It's time, Moses, for you to go back, and I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the people of Israel, out of Egypt. Moses answered God, "But why me? What makes you think that I could ever go to Pharaoh and lead the children of Israel out of Egypt?" "I will be with you," God said, "and this will be the proof that I am the one who sent you. When you have brought my people out of Egypt, you will worship God right here at this very mountain." And then Moses said to God, "Well, suppose I go to the people of Israel and I tell them, the God of your fathers sent me to you, and they ask me, 'What is his name?' What do I tell them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am. Tell the people of Israel, 'I am sent me to you.'" God continued with Moses, "This is what you're to say to the Israelites. God, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, sent me to you. This has always been my name, and this is how I've always been known. Now be on your way. Gather the leaders of Israel. Tell them, 'God, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me, saying, I've looked into what's being done to you in Egypt, and I've determined to get you out of the affliction of Egypt and take you to the land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Termites, the Electrolytes, the Suburmanites, the satellites of the Gazuntites." I can never lay off of that. I am so sorry. To a land. Will you try it sometime? To a land brimming over with milk and honey. When we trust God to help us to do the things that we don't think we can do, I promise you three things are going to be happen. Three things are going to happen. The first thing is you're going to be purged. There's going to be a cleansing effect when you say yes to God, when you step out in faith, when you trust Him to help you to do something you don't think you're capable of doing. We are purged. We find out a lot of things about ourselves. The second thing that happens when we choose to trust God is that we are perfected. We're perfected. I don't think any of us have any idea what we're capable of accomplishing when God comes on the scene and helps us. I lean so often on that verse that talks about our strength being perfected in our weakness. Third, when we trust God to use us to do things we don't think we're capable of doing, He propels us. He takes us to another level of living. There's a new and fresh anointing that we've never experienced before when we trust Him. Here's the trade-offs of obediently trusting God. First of all, when we trust Him, He will replace our emptiness with His presence. Every time Moses came up empty, God assured him, Moses, I'm with you. We've got this together. Even in the questioning phases, God said to Moses, verse 12, I'll be with you. You ought to write this down somewhere or type it into your little smartphone. God is still present even when it feels like He's absent. Second, when we obediently trust God, He will replace our insecurities with confidence. Think about it. Think about Moses for a minute. He was adopted. He was unsure of who he was, who he belonged to. He didn't know who he was, but even more, he didn't know who God was. And finally, I want you to see this. When we obediently trust God, He will replace our barrenness. Remember, he's out in the wilderness. Moses is out in the wilderness. But when we obediently trust God, He will replace our barrenness with fruitfulness. Look again at God's promise to Moses in Exodus 3:17. I promise I will take you away from your misery in Egypt to a land flowing with milk and honey.